Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.
He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies, he's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Absolutely Jason Stuart with my guest Mindy Sterling here from all the Austin Power films. Everybody knows her. Look how beautiful you are in person.
Oh my gosh, no, really today?
Yes. I honestly.
What did I do? Let's see.
No, because we expect you to look, like this. Or when I was doing research on you, some weird fucking characters.
Yeah.
I mean, this and the Thing and the Grinch and the
I do. I never really look. Don't get to look like good or decent. I always look a little wacky.
Which is fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
So we met a couple of years ago. Drew Droege and I were having lunch, and he invited me to be a guest at the Cooking with Gas show at the Groundlings,
Yes.
which is where they bring in somebody who's sort of a semi-celebrity, and or a big star. Probably I was there the week.
We have had big stars.
Yeah, I was there the week that they couldn't get one. And I got to tell you, at the beginning of the show, what they do is they have you sit in front of the stage, and it's all pitch dark, and the music plays, and they say, "Welcome to the Groundlings," and all this stuff. And you're sitting there on the floor with all the other improv players, who some of them are just brilliant. And there's a door right near where you're sitting, and I was thinking to myself, I could just leave right now because my heart was beating so fast. I thought I was going to kill myself.
Very
you
normal.
And two people in the audience.
Very, very normal. I think that you need a little bit of that before you go on, a little bit of nerves, to kind of get you, excited. But like after maybe the first or second improv and you got to laugh, It's like, well, all right, I can relax now. I know that things are happening.
For me, because I do stand-up and I also act.
Yeah.
So I consider this the in-the-middle stuff.
Yeah.
It's acting and it's stand-up.
Because, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know how it's going to work. You don't know what you're going to say or how you're going to react. And we always tell people, just be the best actor you can. Just listen. Don't worry. You don't have to try to be funny. That's going to happen naturally. Do characters.
Right.
So it kind of, but like anything, I think after you do it a couple of times, it becomes a little more relaxing.
And the improv players were so supportive.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody wants to see a great show, please go to the
Oh,
Groundlings.
thank you. We love doing it.
Here in Hollywood, California. I think there's a show almost every night, isn't there?
Well, Thursday night is the Cooking with Gas, but there is a show Wednesday through Sunday night, and they're all different types of shows, sketch shows, other improv shows. So there is something going on. Go to the site, and it'll give you all the information.
You were there, and you were so terrific. And I thought, I love this. I'm in love with this woman.
Oh, thanks.
And we were saying how supportive comedians and improv players are with each other. I think it's a little more than the pretty people acting, because I think we've been through the mill. We know what it's like. There's a certain support. I can call up another comedian and say, hey, I need some gigs. You got any things?
I think we respect one another because we know how hard it is to make people laugh, and at the same time, if you make me laugh, I'm going to love you like automatically, because that's what energizes me. So everybody would like to laugh.
Well, we also like talented people.
We love talented people.
When I opened for Roseanne Barr a million years ago, and she said to me, "Don't ever become friendly with somebody unless you see their act." And I said, why? Because if you become friends with them and they suck, then they're going to call you. And it's true.
That is really true.
And they will call you, and you will have to
say?
You will have to lie. And it's awful because someone will say, hey, you're doing this show. There's a part for me as the accountant. Do you think I can come in and read for it? And if it was you and you called me, I'd say, please, come in and read. I'm going to call the producer.
Oh, see, now, I don't know if I would ever do that. I don't know if I would ever call you directly and say, hey, I know that you wrote, produced, executive produced, and...
well, obviously your career is going much better than mine.
No! I
do
don't
it all
think
the
I
time.
could... Really?
Oh, yeah. If somebody, I say, hey, if you think I'm right, just put it out there, and don't worry if I'm not. I always say no worries. And that's the way I've gotten half my work.
Well, I think that's really great. I think I need more balls, because my feeling is I know so many people in the business now that I wish they would do things a little bit more, give me a little bit more.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, anytime I ever do anything, you feel free to give me a call on the phone and say, hey.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
No, I just think to me, and
But
maybe that's the difference between stand-up and improv people, maybe. Because stand-ups, we do this all the time.
But I also think that they have so many other people that they think about as well that I never want to look, and not that you look desperate, but I never want that feeling of.
Oh, I'm sure I have. But you know what? It's I don't care. I mean, I think because I know that when I go in, I'll kick ass. I feel confident about my work. And I think that sometimes people are just not thinking about you.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just not thinking about you. And I always say, don't worry, I just thought I might be right for so-and-so.
I think that's great.
You know, and if I'm not, I'm not. And also, it's maybe, you know, my father was a Russian-Polish Jew who was in the Holocaust, not the camps, but the ghettos. And I was learned to get up and work hard.
Yeah.
And that's the way,
That's what you want,
That's the way I grew up. Now, your father was Dick Sterling.
Sterling. Yes.
Sterling. That's what I said. And he was the partner of Shecky Green.
Shecky Green. He partnered with Shecky Green first when I was growing up.
Wow.
I knew Shecky. They were working together.
For those who don't know, Shecky Green and Dick Sterling were probably some of the iconic comedians of the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I mean, my dad actually was sort of the straight man for Shecky, but my dad is very, very funny, or was very funny. And my dad was an incredible singer. So they would work off of each other that way.
See, because in those days they were allowed to do so many,
Yes.
you had to be 3 or 4 things like you have to be now.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a difference to have, you know, a variety of things that you do well. And so I think Shecky he wanted to move forward. He wanted to, you know, do other things. And from what I hear at the time, my dad he had a family. Mm-hmm. So that was really important to him. So he didn't move on with Shecky. And then my dad hooked up with Sammy Shore.
Oh, my God. Sammy Shore, who basically started the Comedy Store with his wife, Mitzi here in Hollywood, California, right off of Sunset Boulevard, the world famous Comedy Store. That's where he started stand-up.
Yeah, so then he became partners with Sammy. I don't know what exactly happened in terms of maybe Sammy moved on. My dad, you know, stayed in Miami because that's where I'm from, grew up. And then my dad started doing, then he had another partner, Ray Baumel, who was a performer and a comedian in Miami. And my dad, they were, you know, sort of this little combo. My dad was still kind of the straight man for Ray. And then once they parted, my dad did an act on his own. So my dad was, you know, really, really big with the hotels in Miami. He did lots of condo shows. So he was an actor in one because he could sing. He was a comedian. He was great with the audience. They loved him. So he did a lot of that.
So you watched this growing up, and you sort of sort of a family business.
Yeah, totally.
Now, how did you start? I have no idea.
As an actor?
Yeah.
Well, I think my dad just kind of watching him and being a goof. And I do remember I was very shy, very insecure as a kid, and I thought, oh my God, I can play a character. And I wouldn't have to be myself. So I started doing that in school and got involved in plays, and I loved it. My mom danced.
Oh, wow.
That's how my mom...
I read that.
Yeah, my mom danced. She was a dancer. So I was kind of around it, but I was very shy. I was not as gregarious as I am right now. I just didn't have I was very insecure. And but I think that's why I always tell people when adults come up to me and they tell me about their kids, how do they get in business? How do they get in business? You know what? They're in school. They need to do school stuff. They need to get involved in plays.
Right. They all want to get them right into something professional. I say no.
Don't. Because you may not like it. They may not like it. And also, too, you get to learn when you're doing theater in school. You get to learn backstage. You get to learn all the other things. You could be a
designer. You could be sound. You could be a director. You could be a writer.
And it's about working with people and being team players. And so there's so many wonderful elements in teaching in school.
I say
do
the same
theater
things.
in school. Wait until they're out of school. Don't drag them in and put them in, in something else you're going to spend money on. So I do, tell them to do that a lot. So, yeah, I kind of did it in school.
And when did you come out here?
I think it was probably about 22 or 23 I came out, and it was like, well, it's time. Where do I go? Mindy, you go to New York or you go to LA. I didn't really know anyone in New York. I'd never been to New York. And LA was very similar to Miami. I had family out here. I had cousins and an aunt and uncle. So I came out here and pursued it. And I think one of the first things
Perfect Strangers was one of your first
jobs? Oh, my God.
jobs?
But I did theater first. I did community theater first.
Oh, you
did?
did?
I got right into theater. And, yeah, one of the first things I did was Perfect Strangers, which is hideous because of the director at the time was the worst person in the world. I don't even remember his name. But
We've all had that, yeah.
He was so hard. And literally, I was like the host. So I think my one line was like, something like, how many? Right this way or something. So it wasn't even a big deal. but I was brutally, like, just sort of, chastised for anything I did, or if I did something, I walked wrong, or the lighting. But that was the nature of him. Everybody else was very lovely. And I think the first commercial I did out here was for Toyota.
Oh, wow.
As a blonde. I was a blonde back then. So
Oh, yeah, I saw some pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And then you worked along and worked along and worked along. And then, over the years, and then Austin Powers came. That was your first really...
That was the breakout. That was definitely the big breakout. I met Mike at the Groundlings. So once again, it was the Groundlings that gave me these opportunities. Mike Myers. And Julia Sweeney was doing the Cooking with Gas show. She brought Mike from SNL, and we met that way. And
so he just came in to do it as a guest.
He did several of the shows. He loved playing with it.
So Mike and I did the same exact thing.
Exactly. So your turn will be coming up shortly. And then he wanted to do a special show there to try out characters. So he tried out Austin Powers and some other characters. I don't even remember what he tried out. And he asked me, and he asked Steve Hibbert, and he asked Patrick Bristow if we could just sort of help him out.
Wow.
And so
I
don't think I did Frau then, but I just was helping him out with whatever he wanted to do. I don't remember if it was improv or set. So I got in with, knowing him and him liking me.
And then how did Frau come about?
Well, he wrote the part for Austin Powers, and I met Jay Roach, who was the director, came to see the show. And then I auditioned for it, just like anybody else.
Oh, you had to audition?
Oh, absolutely. Well, New Line had to okay me.
Yeah.
And I went in and I auditioned just like right across from Jay. And I auditioned, then Jay said, why don't we do a little improv? And so I just did a little improv. And then they kept it in, I did the one about... about the Lucky Charms, and this is, the kids will love them, these little marshmallows. And so...
the minute they say improv to me, I'm in.
Aren't you like heaven?
Oh, because especially as a comedian, because when you're doing what works, you feel so much more. But to do someone else's and interpret somebody else's stuff,
that's hard.
It's much, much harder. We have to work on it because we know what's funny, and if the music doesn't feel right in our head, it's
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that we read that, as you know, that is not funny to me, and it's hard for me to make something out of it.
I'm just asking them how much time we have.
I could tell.
Oh, we have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, thank God.
Just because we had a little bit of a rough start today, but no one has to know that. It didn't happen. Pretend I didn't say that. So what I want to do is I want to show a clip.
Please.
I want to show a clip as you as Frau.
Okay.
And this is a clip that is not double, and we have Kim working the board today for the first time on her own. So Kim.
And she's doing great, Kim.
Yes, she is. Play clip 1 of her. Oh, there we go.
To my
so
right
young.
is my lover. We met at the LPGA tour. Her name is Yuna Brau.
Right on. Welcome, Unibrow.
Cindy the Clown!
Frau, begin the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Frau, begin the countdown at 30.
30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18,
Fake it.
17, I know.
You know what I mean? It's just like, not
plastic.
Yeah.
14, 13.
You know what? When the doors close, just say go. Better.
Go!
Begin laser ignition sequence.
Begin laser ignition!
It's your mother. Come on out. Mom?
Scott, you are my love child with Dr. Evil.
I thought I was a test tube baby.
Lies. Oh, lies!
I love you, Mom.
I love you too, son.
Oh, that's just so.
I will send you that because somebody did it on YouTube.
That's great. It's great for me to have, but It's still. I mean, all those people. That
What I
was
love,
the
I have to
best
interrupt.
experience.
The yell is my favorite
Yeah,
thing.
well, I yell. I am a yeller. And I guess it's funny when I yell.
It's just, it would be exactly how I would do it.
Yes.
Because it's something about that. And she's a lesbian, right? But she had a child.
Yes.
So that's after.
It's very sort of ambiguous, exactly, I guess, the order of things, but yes. And the other lesbian was Mary Jo Smith, who was also a groundling. So,
Oh, she's terrific.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even recognize her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wild.
well, let's take a break.
Okay.
We're going to come back after these messages here. Are we ready to take a break there? Okay. Let's do it. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with Mindy Sterling right here on Absolutely Jason Stewart. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm Jeff Brown.
And we make up the Zo What Morning Show. You can find us here on tradiov.com every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I make you think.
He makes you laugh, and if I get a chance, I'll help you change.
Or make you cry with his attempts at humor.
Radio in TV.
Can you relate? We'll make it happen.
Look at you. What you doing?
Were you mumbling to yourself?
Hey, back there, mama.
To them. To them.
Andy D on T-Radio V. Bing, bang, bing, boom, right?
Yeah.
Andy D on T-Radio V. Bobbity, bibbity, bobbity, boo. Andy D on T-Radio V.
The Andy Dick Show, Wednesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. on T.
So but Paul, we'll do it better when the show actually starts.
Yeah, Hi, this is Slim Jim Phantom, and you got the big beat. We're gonna take this music into the 22nd century. We deal exclusively in rockabilly music. Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Richie Valens, Wanda Jackson, Janice Martin, the Everly Brothers, Johnny Cash, and everybody else. Thank you so much for supporting the Big Beat here on T-Radio V.
Hey guys, I'm Pilar Lastra.
And I'm Joey Heim.
Be sure that you catch our new show, Sports List.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. right here on T-Radio V. What are we going to talk about?
This is where you talk about why it's called Sports List. Because
well, look at
everybody
us.
who loves sports is going to be tuning in to watch you talk sports topless.
Well, I think topless. I don't mind doing that. Will you do it? Sports Lust. Every Wednesday, right?
At 11 a.m.
T-Radio V is radio.
Made for
TV.
Come on, work with me.
There we go.
TV, radio.
In TV.
T-Radio V. Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.
And we're back on Absolutely Jason Stewart with my guest, Mindy Sterling. So you were telling me during the break that Mike, it was because, he did like 5 characters in the film, right?
Yeah, with all of them, yeah,
physically exhausting.
It is. I think the prep is very exhausting. He would fall asleep during it because it would take several hours.
Just staying.
And Fat Bastard was really tough. They had to put, like an air-conditioned hose in him during breaks because it was so hot inside. Yeah.
And what would make him? You were telling me that he would get cranky.
Well, whenever I think when there were long days and stuff, Mike would. The one thing that would get Mike going, as if it were, like a shot of something, would be chocolate.
Oh, really?
So somebody would give him chocolate. Woo! He would just, get all hyped up and let's do it again.
I love that chocolate. Yeah, his big vice.
Oh, that was his big vice, and so that was
I love
always
hearing
something.
that.
Yeah,
because it's same here.
Yeah.
Now, so when you got the word you got the part, where were you?
I don't know. I think I might have been at home. I do remember
because we had telephones then, where you had to be in the house.
Yes, but I do remember. I think more the second film, I was in Hawaii. and got the call while I was in Hawaii going, oh, we're doing a second one. Are you available? Blah, blah, blah. And that just made, I mean, obviously Hawaii so much better. But I think probably at home when I heard the first one, and I, as everything, anytime I get a job, this is my first reaction to my agent. Really? Are you kidding?
Yeah, I do the same thing.
And he's always like, no, I'm kidding you. Yes, you did. And I'm always so surprised.
So am I.
Really? I did? I did that good? Really? That's just the first
So
thing
when I leave
did.
the audition, I think I'm great, and then by the time I get
never
home
do.
on the freeway, I've talked myself out of the job.
I wish I left every audition feeling that I did so great, but I leave just second guessing everything I did.
Still?
So that, totally
me
still.
too.
And so when somebody does say, you got it, I'm like, what? Really? So I am. I'm always surprised.
When the film came out, your whole career changed. I mean,
Yeah,
you went from being a comedy person who's going on auditions, getting small parts and things, to, a major comedy name.
Really, really nice. I think that, like I said, the doors did open. The problem was after you do a part like that, everybody wants you to repeat it. So all the things that came from that for a long time were things that were, well, she's Russian, she's German, she's this. And so everything I did after that, I finally had to say, some things I just had to say no to. I said, you're asking me to do Frau. That's what you're asking me to do, and I can't do this in every show. I can't portray her without having her name be Frau. But literally, it was, she's German. I mean, all my dialects are the same. So my German and my Russian are the same. So if it's going to be that type of a character, I just
it's going to sound very similar.
Very
Yes,
similar.
yes. Now, you Drop Dead Gorgeous, which is an iconic, funny movie with Kirstie Alley and Kirsten Dunst, Ellen Barkin,
and
Amy Adams.
Yeah, all these amazing.
I did Drop Dead Gorgeous too, another film. 10 years later, they insisted on having about these models that were murdered.
Oh.
Yeah, I played a fashion designer as a
I
stupid.
love it.
Yeah, yes. People think that I'm in the movie all the time. Now, was that film offered because it came right after?
No, I auditioned.
And you played a mom in that, right?
No, I played Kirstie Alley's sort of sidekick who helped with the pageant.
Oh, right.
So I was, was from Minnesota, and I was her sidekick. And so we kept the girls in line and loved that movie.
Who was the director of that? Do you remember?
It was Michael Patrick John.
Oh, wow.
And Allison Janney. I mean, it was an amazing
Everybody
cast.
from that movie went on to do great things.
Yes, and they were all wonderful and fun to work with. And we were in Minnesota with all the mosquitoes. But that was like one of the best times I had as well.
And then you went from that to start doing what I call playing Mrs. Someone.
Yeah, and she was always mean. A lot of the characters I get the calls. It's a little bit better now. I think people realize, I can do other things.
Well, because I really believe it's because you did press. Because when you do press, they also see a different side of you.
Maybe,
and a lot
I'd
of
like
people
to
watch
think that.
Oh, I think definitely.
I hope so, because
how can they not know who you are? How can they know who you are if you're just playing all these mean people that have all these accent that go...
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I did. I play, and for kids shows, I am always cast as being, a little severe, mean, the mean principal, mean teacher, mean neighbor. I do a lot of that.
And I bet you're probably the nicest mom and the mom that...
you have to ask my son, but I think I'm kind of nice.
He said you're sweet.
Aw, that's very sweet. Yeah,
here.
I'm annoying right now, but yeah.
Oh, of course.
But I told him, I said, Max, I'm always going to be annoying. I will never, ever stop being annoying to you.
That's what I always say about my parents. I said, my parents were great. They were annoying.
Yeah.
But they were great.
But it's true.
Now, you did a film that I just thought was really, really sort of exciting and different. It was called Mars...
Mars Needs Moms.
Moms Needs Mars.
Mars Needs Moms.
With Joan Cusack, who is probably one of my all-time favorite actresses.
I am mesmerized by her.
I think you're sort of cut from the same cloth as her, honestly.
She's just so different and odd, and I mean that in the best of ways.
Oh,
She
yeah.
has a style that I've never seen from anyone else. She's naturally funny. She's smart. What I loved about her is we would just talk about our kids. We would talk about being moms and I love talking about being a mom. And
what was she like to work with as an actor?
I didn't really, unfortunately, my scenes were not with her really. But I think there was one where everybody was in stuff. So when we were off, we would talk about being moms, and we did press together.
Yeah, because I saw that.
Yeah.
That's what I saw online.
I loved her. I absolutely loved her. I think she's special.
She's an extraordinary actress.
Yeah.
2-time Academy Award nominated actress for comedies,
Yes.
which is completely nuts because that doesn't happen. I think Madeline Kahn was one who did that, and I think a couple other people were. Charles Durning was nominated for 2 comedies, and he did do a lot, but you don't get nominated for comedies as much as you do for dramatic things.
Absolutely.
Which is sort of crazy because comedy's so much harder to do when there isn't an audience. I mean, and you got to work on Ellen, which I'm so jealous of.
I did. I got to play a really horrible singer. She was just a little flat. And I got to sing a song, and Ellen just, was going crazy and said, "You should just." She was drunk in the scene and said, "Oh, you shouldn't sing." And I was appalled by it, but I got to sing. I think it was "Shine on, harvest moon up in the sky," and and thinking I'm the best singer ever, and it was so off. So it was great.
Was there parts in the script where they would just say Ellen talks?
No.
Oh,
not that I remember.
Because I'd heard from people that I knew that were writers on the show where they would just give Ellen room to just go, Ellen talks, and she would just tell a story about something or something would happen, because she had this thing that she used to do in her act where she would talk about something and completely talk about it in the same way. The only other person I saw do that was Lily Tomlin in her show.
I don't remember. I mean, maybe in some scripts, maybe in some episodes, but I don't remember, going, what the hell is this? Yeah.
Now, The Grinch, we were talking about when you first came in, doing The Grinch, that's with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Now, what was the process to get cast in that movie? Dear God.
Well, the interesting thing is that I went and I met with Ron Howard, who
directed the movie.
Is one of the loveliest people I have ever met.
I read for him for Ed TV.
Oh.
I went back twice.
Isn't he just...
It was the first time anybody had done an audition with a camera that was like small, and he followed us around, and when I walked in, I just said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, this is what, okay. Oh, all right. This is how we're doing auditions now. It was the first time that it ever happened. It was an interview because he was looking for a group of people that were, the Grinch people.
The Grinch people. And and I don't even remember, there was no script for us. And I don't know if he was talking to me about, looking for these 2 old biddies who help raise the Grinch. So.
And we just happen to have a clip of that. And we can show that while we're talking.
Oh, that would be great.
It's clip number 2, I believe. And this will show you in the...
Everything you know about
That's not me.
That's
the little
Where
girl.
did he come from?
There I am.
Oh, well, he came the way all babies come.
And then
On calm nights.
Yes, that's my voice, yeah.
What was it like putting
and tiny fellas.
That was tough. It was like
from the
3.5 hours of sitting there, putting it on and trying to breathe and be natural because your nostrils were in a different place. And you had to use like a straw sometimes.
I had a very dear friend who was a friend of yours, Suzanne Kroll, who since passed.
That's how I met her.
You guys sat in a chair together probably for hours?
No, I actually sat with the girl that...
who was that?
Rachel Winfrey.
It was Christmas Eve, and a strange wind blew that night.
But it was such a special movie. It was magical. It was the set, the people, and you would sit there. I mean, you were in that face and stuff all day long. So when you were having lunch, you're sitting there eating lunch with that stuff on, and you forget that you're just you're talking normal, and you're looking at people, and whenever you have a friend on the set and they would watch you talking, it was hysterical. But look at how magical all that was.
They wanted people, you could see, because the people who got ahead, there was a certain facial structure.
You had to have that. You had to have an interesting face. You had to be animated.
Yes.
And that's, and they wanted, fun people for the Grinch, people, and was such a great group of wonderful, extraordinary, talented people, and
Before anybody
what was it like to work with Jim Carrey?
Out there, the poor dear.
Well, it was so interesting.
We knew right away that he was special.
No. Oh, this is why I'm giving him the cookie. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was really caught up in, I think, what he needed to do. I thought he was going to be a blast to work with.
Right. He's a very dark guy. Did you know him from the Comedy Store?
No.
Yeah.
No. You could tell that he was there to do his job. He had a lot to think about. Remember, he was in an entire outfit. It wasn't just his face. He had the fur. So he must have been very uncomfortable. So he was not there to hang out, play, schmooze, talk. It wasn't like Mike Myers, who was fun. But, to give him props, he had a lot to think about and a lot to do.
People forget, though, when you're working in a movie, that just because someone is an actor, some people, and I know I did a film recently where I played a British CIA agent, and I only had one day, so I thought I got to be British from the minute I walk in, because I don't want to go into the shot and have the accent just start. And sometimes, I don't know about you, I got to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can just sit and chat, and there's sometimes I can't. And people will think that some actor is not friendly or not this or that.
And you don't really know.
It's process.
I think it's also the difference between being rude to somebody, and then you don't have to be rude to me. You can just be, at a break, you're off on your own, or you can still smile and go, hi, nice to meet you, but whatever. But he had just come from, was it Man in the Moon?
Oh, my God. Man in the Moon, where he played Andy Kaufman.
And that's what everybody said. They said, oh, my God, he had a really tough time during that. And now he is been sitting in a chair for hours, and the last thing he wants to do is make the day longer or to chat. So, but I heard that he did, I know one of the days was a long day. He bought beer for a lot of the cast and crew afterwards. So I think he was a very lovely guy. We just never got to play with him on the set. So, but I have no ill feelings towards him.
No, not at all. It's just everybody's different.
I think you expected that from him. I thought it was going to be fun.
Yeah, because of his personality. The same thing where people probably would expect you to be mean.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because they see all these characters. Oh, she's going to be a little bossy. I know for me, that's what people think a lot of times for my stand-up. He's going to take over.
Right.
And I'm like, I come from being an actor. That's my roots. So I'm an actor. I'm an ensemble
I'm a talker
type.
too. I sometimes probably do. I like to visit and talk and get to know people,
Yes,
and I
so
should
do
be
I.
learning my lines.
I do because I think also that's the difference between being a star and being a supporting character. We get there. We want to just get in.
I want to learn everything. I want to see everything. I want to see and I care about people. I know what it's like to get a part. I know what it's like, how exciting it is for everybody. I'm working, and it's my nature. I'm the nurturing Jew. So that's what I do.
That's where the wandering Jew came from.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. No, I think there's a sort of feeling of wanting to be a part of something.
Yeah.
When you don't get to work as much as a star does, they work the whole time. But you worked a lot on Grinch. I mean, you were probably there for weeks, right?
Oh, I think it was 6 weeks, and maybe not every day, but it was a good 6 weeks.
What's
and a lot of it was background. But still, that's where you got friendly with the Suzanne Crowells and all the other people, because those are your peeps. Those are the people you hung out with.
Because there was nothing to do but stand in that weird costume.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a big difference, for folks at home listening, but standing there just wearing your costume and having one line here, one line there, than having to star in a movie.
Yeah.
And it's all on your back.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So the patience that you have to have, and the, endurance, and
focus.
And focus, and be able to be there
in a second.
And so you look at you see the finished product, and you go, wow. But, oh, my God, the days were long, and all you wanted to do was take that nose off and, and just be, normal. But it's a lot of work.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with Mindy Sterling right here on Absolutely Jason Stewart. We're going to talk more about her career and more about what's going on next. We'll be back in just a moment.
We are the hosts of the Real Talk Show that airs every Tuesday.
You so serious?
Real life, real topics, real subjects.
Shop Talk, Diva Pink.
Real
Yes.
people.
Taking over.
Your
What
homie
y'all
Don
think?
Juan providing the vibes.
Oh, yeah, he does every week.
Oh, man, we
What's
need
up,
y'all
Don
to tune
Juan?
in every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7. T Radio V. Radio and TV.
It is radio.
Radio and TV.
You're crazy.
Let's do another one.
Well, howdy, I'm Miss Laura, host of Miss Laura's Civil Wars. We do it every Saturday at 10 a.m. We talk about what's in the news that everybody's fussing and fighting about this week, because y'all are rude. We have a roundtable of media experts, and we bring in celebrity guests from the world of entertainment. So join us on Miss Laura's Civil Wars every Saturday at 10 a.m. on tradiov.com. Radio and TV.
Hi, I'm Moby, and you're watching T Radio V.
He's the most interesting man in the world.
No, really, he is.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, it's always with hot chicks.
Langdon Nation, saving the world one dirty joke at a time. Saturdays from 1 to 3, exclusively on T Radio V.
T Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
Jason Stuart with my guest, Mindy Sterling. So you got to play a dramatic role on Christian Slater's show.
Yeah.
What was it called? My Worst Enemy?
I think, wasn't My Own Worst Enemy?
My Own Worst Enemy,
I believe, yeah.
He's a wonderful guy.
The nicest, the loveliest.
His mom is a big famous casting director.
Yes.
Mary Jo.
Yes.
Yeah, Slater.
Very, very sweet. And it was great. I got to play his secretary. And it wasn't about me trying to be funny, and it wasn't about me being wacky. I wasn't doing jokes. I was his secretary. I was his very efficient secretary. And I got to wear gorgeous, like really nice suits and very up. No, I wasn't. But it was just a real departure from what I did, and I loved it.
He was a big, big movie star, and then he went to he's been trying
I know, he's been trying
to go to TV really, really bad, and nothing sort of
I know.
clicked. And he has a lot of humility, I've heard, as a person. He's a really great guy.
He really was, yeah.
What was the difference in terms of the process of doing the show, I guess, in terms of comedy or drama for you? Is there a difference? For me, there isn't. It's just about doing the work. And
right. I mean, it wasn't. I think for me, it's trusting that what I'm doing. When we're doing comedy, you usually get laughs, or you get, between
the favorite
takes.
thing is you wait and you're doing your thing, and all of a sudden, the DP goes,
yeah,
and he just like blurts out, and you go, oh my God, I had no idea. And still, after all these years, I go, really?
Yeah. Well, especially because you have to do it over and over and over and over again, and that's what we would do with Austin Powers. Nobody could laugh, but the minute they said cut, you had everybody giggling and was able to bust out laughing. But
you were going to tell a story about Mike.
Oh, I was just saying that we were talking about hours, and he was not a morning person. And I'm a morning person. I'm not a night person. So we would not start until later on in the afternoon.
Like what time?
So we would be there until like 2 a.m, which I am not good at. And our last, I remember the scene that we did, when
Well, what time did you start in the afternoon? Like 4?
Well, no, maybe around 1.
I love it. That's my favorite time.
And then, but the scene that we did where it's like, it got weird, didn't it? Yeah. And we're sitting with the Hot Pockets.
Uh-huh.
We had to look at each other, and I said, I'm late. Well, that was like the last scene of the night, and it was like 2 a.m, and we could not look at each other. We would laugh. And he started laughing at me when I would say, I'm late. He would start to laugh, and I thought, oh my God, I'm making Mike Myers laugh. Well, I couldn't look at him anymore. We just started to giggle, and I'm going to look past you. So that took forever, and it was 2 a.m. Everyone wants to go home.
They're all like ready to kill you.
Yes, and so it took a while. We finally got it down, but yeah.
Oh, man. And then you got to work in the last season, I guess, of Desperate Housewives.
I did. I was a fan of the show. I've always wanted to be on it, and
It was so original when it came out. There was no other show like that.
Yes, and I met Mark Cherry, and
he probably was a big fan.
He was a big fan of improv, and he would come to the Groundlings all the time. And it's one of those things where I'd love to do the show.
Yeah.
And so he found a little part for me and brought me on, and I did several episodes, and I played Mitzi, the horrible neighbor that everybody couldn't stand. But why they still were friends with me, I'll never know.
Oh, nobody liked each other on that show.
Exactly. But I would always pop up in group stuff thinking, well, they all hate me. Why am I still there? But I loved it because I was part of the neighborhood.
Oh, please. You did 5 or 6 shows.
Yeah, it was great.
And you also do an incredible amount of children's shows.
I do.
An incredible amount of voiceover. I just want your career. I want to just be you when I grow up.
I want more of my career. I wanted to keep going. I never wanted to stop, and we all want more than we have.
So how does that?
I'm grateful.
So how does that? How does that go down with you in terms of, because you get to be a certain age, and things change for women.
Yeah.
But your career came, I guess 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So you were around, I don't know if you tell your age, but you were around, older. So that's why I think you appreciate it so much. When you get something later in life, you appreciate it so much more. Because I didn't really start to work until I was like 35.
Yeah.
That's when I started to really start to do sitcoms and all this stuff. And
well, I think that, when I was earlier, I was a blonde and I had sort of an ingenue quality, but kind of a quirky, but not really pretty. But, so I remember somebody saying to me that I worked with, he said, you're going to work when you're older. You have that soul about you.
You're a character actor.
I'm a character actor. So, yes. So now I find that I work. But unfortunately, there are a lot of women that, have a higher status and are more celebrity bound than me that are coming to, wanting to do the things that I want to do.
Oh, right.
So
everybody's taking everybody's job.
That's the tough part is I'm up against, the great thing is, oh my God, I'm up against these amazing, wonderful, talented character women. And
they make them read. Who's the biggest star that you've had to read up against that you couldn't believe they actually called in to read? Because I can't believe some of the people that are in the room, that are there. And you think,
unfortunately,
once Rip Taylor was actually there, and he's like 40 years older than me, and really, this is right. I think I was right at the end of me. I think I was around 40, and right at the end of playing gay parts. Because for me, there are no more gay parts after 35. They don't come back until they get old in their 60s.
Right.
Anything that's gay is under 35, and you have to be really, really hot. So now I play the manager.
Well, that's what we do. We play these kind of little roles that, and hopefully you get on something that carries over to, the possibility of recurring. And, the children's shows are fun for me because the hours are great when you're working with children. But I don't want to do that the rest of my life. I do want to do something where I'm a little more serious. And I do
Legit.
Tell me
about your part on
my
Legit.
favorite thing that I've done.
There's an Australian comedian,
Jim Jeffries, who is a love, and I adore him. And
was it an FX show?
It was an FX, and then it went to FXX. We did 2 seasons of it. Unfortunately, it was not picked up this year. And I got to work with Jim Jeffries, Dan Bacchanal, who's amazing, and DJ Qualls.
Who'd you play?
I played DJ and Dan's mother, who hated Jim Jeffries.
Mrs. Somebody and
yes,
someone's
I got to
mom.
play Janice.
Half your credits are Mrs. Somebody and somebody and Joe's mom and Mrs. Bushkapak.
But I never really got to play a lot of moms. So I love playing somebody's mom. I mean, I was always somebody.
You have that quality.
And I do. And I got to play. This was something, I don't want to say it's as close to me as possible, but I didn't have to put on a voice. I got to play this woman who was disappointed in one child and babied another one who was in the wheelchair and hated Jim Jeffries' character. And my husband was John Ratzberger.
Oh my God!
So how lucky was that for me to do?
He's terrific, isn't he?
Yes. So I got to do
this. From Cheers.
Yeah.
And the postman from Cheers.
So I want to do more of that. He was the mailman.
Mailman.
Yeah, from Cheers.
Yeah. When that show was improvised a little, was it not? On
we
FX?
did a little bit of improv. Yeah, we did a little bit of improv. But I loved working with these guys. I loved the art of it. I loved the characters. I love dark shows.
Well, the really interestingness about we got 2 minutes. The really interesting about FX shows is there is a real support for the artist and having one voice for the show and one vision.
Yeah.
And whoever is the showrunner of the show, they will let you. Let the person go with it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It just you got to find when the show is on, and it's not as easy to land into like all the other channels and stations.
Well, I really believe that you have a lot more than people have seen, and that's.
I think so, Jason.
I really do, and I think that sometimes when you get into a certain age, you have to go like this, pull it in.
Well, I'm working on some stuff of my own too. I think that's the other thing is you doing this. We find the stuff that really appeals to us that we want to do, and you hope that you work on it and you write it and you present it, and other people will, latch
because if
onto
you're not
it.
having fun, it's not worth it. That's
Absolutely.
What it is for me. You got to have fun, and you got to be able to go and say, "Hey, this is what makes me happy."
Yes.
And also people can see you at the Groundlings occasionally.
Yes, on Thursdays every now and then, so they can always call and find out when I'm there.
And you probably post it on your Facebook page.
What? I need to do. I'm not really good at advertising.
For now on, she will be doing that on her Facebook page. I'm going to help her out.
Yes,
just a
I need
little.
to do. Thank you. And my Twitter. I'm a horrible Twitterer.
And so people need to find you. Just go to jasonstewart.com, STUART, and say, "Hey, I want to find Mindy," and I will get you to her. I thank you so much for being on the show.
This was such a pleasure. I'm so glad I finally got in.
I really am too. And everybody, please take care. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
Radio V. Radio and TV.